Hi YouTube community. A few of you have asked me to look at the structure of Macbeth, so here it is summed up for you in under 10 minutes. I hope. I'll be focusing on the structure of a tragedy to help your understanding of the play. So let's begin. The first thing to look at is the structure of the play itself. Macbeth is a 5-act play told in chronological order, so we experience the events in the order in which the characters do. It follows the dramatic structure of a tragedy. Many have explored this, notably Aristotle and Freytag. So let's look at Aristotle first. Aristotle believed that a tragedy should evoke the emotions of pity and fear, with the audience being able to purge these emotions at the end, known as the catharsis. He believed the spectator should exit the theatre feeling cleansed and learning a moral lesson and understanding the ways of gods and men. He believed there were 6 main elements to a tragedy: the plot, character, diction, thoughts, spectacle, and melody. Aristotle considers the plot to be the most important and the soul of the tragedy, with the character coming second. He said it is an imitation not of men, but of an action and of life. So in the case of the play Macbeth, according to Aristotle, it's not really about Macbeth himself, but the plot and his actions. He should just be a character who experiences the changes that take place. The tragic hero should be a character that the audience can identify with. Aristotle says that the pity is aroused by unmerited misfortune, feared by the misfortune of a man like ourselves. So, the tragic hero must neither be a villain or an angel, but somewhere in between. We all have flaws. We may be too stubborn or dishonest at times. Some of us are short-tempered, I know I am, or easily jealous. So maybe your flaw is being a perfectionist or being self-centered sometimes. Whatever it is, a tragic hero has to have something within their character that we can identify with in our own lives. They must begin the play as a noble character, someone who is seen as good, and then they allow their tragic flaw to cause their downfall. The tragic hero misfortunes do not come from being inherently evil, but by a fatal flaw known as hamartia. The hamartia is a flaw that causes the tragic hero's downfall. In the case of Macbeth, it is one of few flaws. Mainly it is his unchecked and excessive ambition, but some may argue it is his association with the supernatural and encouragement of his wife which made him succumb to his ambition. There's also something called hubris, which involves the character having excessive pride and a lack of respect for the natural order. In the case of Macbeth, this can also link to his hamartia. He so desires power and status, he allows it to override his loyalty to the king. He should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife himself. But it is his vaulted ambition which overleaps itself and causes him to commit the crimes of tyranny. He kills Duncan, Banquo, and tries but fails to kill Fleance, therefore disturbing the natural order of kingship, affecting the great chain of being for his own ambition and pride. You still with me? Okay. So Aristotle believed that there were 3 main parts of a tragedy: the reversal, recognition, and suffering. The reversal was known as peripeteia, a reversal of fortune due to the tragic hero's error in judgment. It marks a major turning point for them. When this reversal happens is subjective. Some may believe it comes when Macbeth first meets the witches and tells him he'll be the Thane of Cawdor and then king. With many believing and fearing witches in the Jacobean era, some may find that this is the turning point for Macbeth. Whereas a modern audience may believe his first peripeteia comes when he actually murders Duncan. Because, well, we don't really believe in witches now, just the ones we see on the telly, like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I must admit, I do like a little bit of Sabrina. Anyways, back to the point. So today, Macbeth committing regicide and killing good old King Duncan would likely be the point of no return, as he has committed the ultimate sin, and this starts the events that lead to his downfall. Yes, he felt guilty after doing the deed, but murdering Duncan results in more deaths in order to maintain power and protect himself. There are other turning points, reversals of fortunes, for Macbeth in the play. For example, when he kills his friend Banquo, but fails to kill Fleance, who we know from the witches is going to become king somewhere down the line. Then, when he gets the second and very misleading prophecy from the witches, and goes on to kill Macduff's family. Why? I'm not too sure. Macbeth has gone pretty cray-cray with power by this point and clearly just enjoys having people killed. So, these chain of events lead to the denouement, which is the final part of the play. As Banquo's dying words ordering Fleance to take revenge, coupled with Macduff's need to seek revenge, results in the toppling of Macbeth. The next feature of a tragedy, according to Aristotle, is the recognition, also known as agnoresis. This is where the tragic hero makes an important discovery and recognises the true nature of their circumstances. There is a change from ignorance to knowledge. Basically, the moment Macbeth becomes woke. Reversal with recognition is thought to be the best. Combined, it should produce pity or fear or both. Again, this can be subjective to where this happens in the play. This may be after he kills Duncan and realises the severities of his crimes and expresses how Cawdor shall sleep no more, Macbeth shall sleep no more. His agnoresis will also be when he learns the witches played with him with their equivocations and made him think he was invincible. Then he learns his wife killed herself and Birnam Wood's moves and Macduff was born by cesarean from his mother's womb untimely ripped. Macbeth recognises that he shouldn't have trusted the juggling fiends who tricked him. Then we have the suffering. Macbeth suffers for his acts of tyranny and has his head chopped off and carried around by Macduff. Lovely. All well that ends well. Macbeth becomes king and the natural order is restored. Yay. So the play ends and we experience the catharsis. After an emotional roller coaster, the audience have purged and cleansed themselves from these emotions. Throughout the play, the audience experience a range of emotions from Macbeth. At times, we feel pity for him. We know he starts off as a good man and expresses doubts and guilt for having such thoughts about killing the king. But his ambition and pressures from his lady made him follow through with regicide, and after murdering the innocent and honourable Duncan, we are made to feel he should be punished for his act. We also fear him at times too, with the senseless killing of his friend, women and children. Shakespeare presents Macbeth as unpredictable, even to his wife. So by the end, the audience needs to purge these emotions about Macbeth. Therefore, getting his head chopped off at the end, it seems Macbeth finally getting his comeuppance. The audience can have these feelings cleansed and learning a moral message. Don't get too ambitious and try and mess with the natural order of kingship. So, that's the main feature of a tragedy according to Aristotle. Now let's look at Freytag. So with Aristotle's idea of tragedy in mind, Freytag devised his own. A Shakespearean tragedy traditionally follows the Freytag pyramid of dramatic structure, which consists of 5 parts: the exposition, rise in action, climax, fall in action, and the catastrophe or the denouement. The exposition sets the stage for the drama. It's a time to introduce the setting, the characters, and the mood of the story. Here is when we are first introduced to the witches. The fact they come first in the play is important. You would expect the king to be introduced first, but it's not, showing the power and influence the witches have over the tragic hero, Macbeth. It then goes on to the rise in action. These are the events that build the conflict in the play and create tension and interest. This occurs in Act 2, where we see Macbeth conflicted by his decision to commit regicide, but the pressure and control from his dearest partner in greatness make him follow through and murder Duncan. Then we have the climax, which signals the turning point in the play for the tragic hero, either for better or for worse. This occurs in Act 3, when Macbeth becomes king, so for better, and then he has Banquo murdered and his son Fleance escapes, so for worse. We then have the fall in action. This is the moment in the play where the conflict between the protagonist and the antagonist, their opposite, is established or resolved. This happens in Act 4, when Macbeth goes back to see the witches. Their equivocations give him a false sense of security, and he kills Macduff's, the antagonist's family, and Malcolm Macduff team up to plan their invasion. And last but not least is the catastrophe, also known as the denouement, the final part of the play. The tragic hero is taken down by the antagonist, and everyone returns to normality. So like I said before, Macbeth is defeated and gets his head chopped off, and Malcolm becomes king. Hurrah! And there you have it, the structure of the tragic play Macbeth, broken down in just over 10 minutes. So, hope that was helpful. I will see you next time. Bye bye.